put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. We're just at about 7:18 a.m. this morning, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. We're coming to you live from Comfort Inn and Suites. It is Carnival week here in Tobago. Wherever you may be, I hope that you have your flight already booked and you are planning to head to the airport sometime later on this week to come to Tobago. It's the Tobago October Carnival week taking place. And in this segment, we are chatting with John Arnold, CEO of the Tobago Festivals Commission. Good morning to you and welcome.
Morning. After a great weekend, good morning.
I'm sure.
Well, I feel that is a fitting place to start.
Yes.
John, how was the weekend for you?
No. It was good. I enjoyed Saturday night. I didn't get to go Friday night, but I really enjoyed Saturday night. I thought the Legends part and the Tobago, what I call the creme de la creme of Tobago Calypso, I think that was great. Yeah, I had a good time.
All right, excellent. So we're doing a bit of a synopsis. I know we had a conversation a few weeks ago as we were heading in to the 25th anniversary of Blue Food. Let's start by defining it. How would you define it in one statement, the outcome?
Epic.
You didn't even put a full statement, just one word.
Yeah, no, I think for the 25th anniversary, I think when we look at the KPIs, I think we did really well, both from the community, when you look at the sponsorship, when you look at the turnout, all right, the persons who came, and the diversity of the audience. And when you look at the general audience participation and also satisfaction as expressed, also the vendors in terms of their own return, in terms of their sales, they all spoke about it being a very profitable day for them. And I think people were able to also enjoy the entertainment, the return on the entertainment, the return on marketing. I think all augured well for a really well executed event. And again, as I said to you then, I think kudos to the villagers and kudos to the team at TFCL for pulling off another successful event.
Yes, indeed, it was a success. You know, all the reviews that we heard about
Yes.
it, you know, it was raving reviews. So what do you owe some of this success to in terms of what were some of the things that you did differently to bring that measure of success, especially as the 25th anniversary?
Yeah, well, in terms of the 25th anniversary, one of the things we did was really pumped a lot into the marketing in terms of making sure people were aware, if they've never heard about Blue Food, that they got the opportunity to hear about it. The other thing I think that we did was make sure all those elements over the years, we kind of injected them back once again. We did have the children's area. We brought back the crayfish competition in full blast. And because the layout now speaks to the start of building a permanent Blue Food village, I think we were able to have a greater layout, a better layout, using the two fields. And I think persons experience the kind of flow in terms of walking through the program. The heat was there, but I think God also helped us in a little blessing about 5 o'clock when the rain came down and cooled the place down. So I think from all fronts, upstairs and downstairs, we got some blessings on that day.
Definitely. And you're talking about the heat because I know Blue Food to be a wet thing is always hot.
Yeah,
really,
I know.
So, you know, we were
We've had sun in the last few years.
Right.
Yeah,
Really
very, very good. Yeah.
How would you rate the outcome, particularly in relation to the issue of parking and the setup and the arrangements that would have been in place? I got up there pretty late in the evening, came across from Trinidad, but certainly it appeared as though things worked well. But you know the natural challenge with the numbers to come out. Tell us a little bit about how that worked.
Yeah. That's always a problem. And it's a problem for several reasons. One, the Maxis having a problem getting back in a timely manner because people are also walking on the road. Also, some of the buses are halted by patrons going out wanting you to stop rather than picking up the shutter point. I thought it worked pretty good, and persons were able to get out. We have to be patient. You know, I always tell people, you know, I was in Aruba for a jazz festival, and if you saw the length of the lines waiting for the buses in a disciplined, orderly manner, that doesn't obtain here. People will try to beat the system. But what has to happen, I would think, Julien, is moving forward. Because this has now established itself 25 years and it's going to be a sustainable event, I think permanent parking areas has to be established. And I think that will have to be looked at moving forward if we are saying this is a major tourism, festival tourism event. That's how I think.
You know, I want to put John on the spot a little bit. With the development of this new area and space, which of course persons would have been speaking to and we're looking for what would be that full things in place and roll out for 2024, as well as that point that you're just making in relation to parking. Is it that we can see another a potential jazz perhaps happening up on that north side? Is there any potential for that? I put it into the future prospects.
Well, I think those are questions way above my pay grade. I can't comment on that at all.
But would it be something, what I'm trying to get at, would the prospect be something that's not impossible to consider, bearing in mind the efforts being made to make this space a little more permanent, to host more things throughout the year?
Yeah, I think in looking at the venue, obviously, yes, the aim is to kind of keep it focused on the agriculture and blue food manifestations and so on. But certainly it doesn't negate the possibility of all kinds of events taking place in this space. Actually, it needs to be well thought out in terms of examining the feasibility and viability of how you keep an area like that, that's situated right plumb between two villages, how you keep that as an active site for customers to come. Yeah. So certainly, I do agree with you. But I can't talk about what will happen. No,
understood fully.
And I know, I mean, you know, when they say if something ain't fixed, so if something ain't broken, don't fix it.
Right.
But what can we look forward to next year? Have you started thinking about next year? What kind of elements can we add? What can we look forward to Blue Food next year to make it even more grander than it already is?
Yeah, I think it's premature to say that. I will tell you why. It's only premature from the perspective, it's a good question, but it's premature from the perspective of the building will now be built. That will create its own dynamics. Two, we always have to continue this conversation with the stakeholders, the villagers, because they have a major part to play. I don't know if people understand that this event does not happen without a central committee that makes up participants from all three villages. And they have an input right down to even the entertainers they would like to see. They're the ones who say, you know, it is that. So I would think that moving forward, those conversations would have to be taking place before something like that can be said. But I think the possibilities are endless at this point.
I'm sure.
Tell us about the combination of local and national artists as we celebrated 25 for Blue Food.
Yeah, we did what I call the judicious mix. Actually, so much so that we had more local. And what we did is we looked for artists who were resident on that side of the island and were. So the Deshaun Saul and Keishon Jack, Joanna Archer and so on. All of those persons were part of that. And then we looked for some key artists that would obviously add gravitas. And that's where Super Blue came in, Pretty, and Nyla Blackman, who was just outstanding, right? So I think that mix was really a good mix. And so I think persons were able to see local and they were able to see the other artists from Trinidad.
Would you say Super Blue continues to bring that kind of legendary input? For some who are younger than us, you know, they just know the name of the name.
I could answer that question for you, yes.
No, totally agree. Well, I can't say 14. She's now 16. She actually said to me, I want to get a picture with him. And that blew my mind because she was like, oh, I heard about him, but now I see him, I want to take a picture. And I think that speaks something to the kind of continuity of the legends. I mean, the legends that featured Weekend, that was really an amazing show. Actually, that show should be carried abroad. The thing about focusing on the artists, Shadow, Merchant, all these great people, but you now have the young ones pushing not only that music, but their own music, I think, speaks volumes for TNT.
So certainly what we have seen is a greater level of appreciation happening here. And I'm happy that you made that kind of combination, because sometimes people just think, you know, it's about selecting an artist or putting something out there. Would you say quite naturally, tell us a little bit about your estimations of the numbers for this 25? My understanding is that this appears to have been the largest.
It was a nice question. That's a good question, because many persons said, Johnny, think this one here. And I said, boy, I remember, I can't remember the year, but that year we marked almost 5,000 something. And somebody asked me, you think? And I said, well, I feel so, you know. I just find the drone shots we got kind of spoke to, I don't know. I think it can, if it's not, it would be equal.
Right, right.
If it wasn't more, it would be probably equal to other years. Yeah.
All right, certainly. The other area I wanted to get your feedback on, patrons in general, with the new layout, the spread and so on, moving in that direction. What was the general feel being in and through? Because I know you're the kind of man, you don't just sit down in one area when there's an event. You and your team, you all are in and between. What was the general feel from patrons this time around? Because, you know, there's some essence for some who didn't make it, you know, to the drive-through effects when there was COVID, coming back for the very first time to Blue Food this year.
Yeah, I thought the layout, and I don't know if you noticed the Coca-Cola area on the field, how many persons were sitting there right through. People came, bought the food and went back and kind of stationed there. We had the petting zoo and the art and craft. The art and craft was quite diverse this year. And I think that offered a lot of sales for the persons on that side. But then when you came on the other side of the food, that also offered. I think the layout, the waiters, offered several kind of opportunities for patrons not to be in one place. We also had somebody offering chairs for rent, which also helped. But I think most persons were walking. And the other thing I want to talk about is, for example, T-Tap had a group from Santa Cruz, 45 strong, right? They rented a bus and they came. We also had the breadfruit guy who really is adamant. He called me. He gave out 200 trees, all breadfruit trees. And these are not the breadfruit trees that go way up in the sky. It's the kind of dwarf ones. I've actually gone to his house to see them. And you can literally walk outside and just screw a breadfruit out and, you know, organize. And breadfruit is such a great, great fruit. You can have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as you know.
And snack. And snack.
And snack. So I thought overall, from the patron, I think there was really great satisfaction. The only complaint I got was the idea of getting out of the village. Yeah.
And in wrapping, I mean, we've heard about the success, we heard about the patrons' remarks, we heard about, you know, how everybody felt the event was. But as the promoter, the producer of this event, in collaboration with all the other stakeholders, how does this make you feel? Because at the end of the day, I mean, this is a production that you're a part of, so how does it make you feel?
Well, one of the things, I feel good in the sense that I was there from the beginning. And in the beginning, it's great to see something move from 100 people, 150, to what it is now. And being there over the years, and also being there from 2003 when I joined tourism and watch the growth of it. So to be there now gives a good sense of pride and a good sense of being Begonian and all the things that Begonian or Begonianized.
Yes. I know for us, we can't have you on and not talk about the future prospects. The obvious is obviously the end of this week, Tobago October Carnival. But tell us as well, future prospects in terms of festivals. What can we look forward to in the lineup as we head on over into 2024?
Well, there's several plans that have been there for a while. One is the Tobago Food and Wine Festival, which we couldn't get off the ground this year because there were funding problems. The other one is another indigenous festival, which we keep talking about, Tobago Tambourine Festival, which will focus on this instrument, almost a very unique percussive instrument, but another one that we want to look at. And then we also have a Tobago Travel Lit Fest, which really looks at travel writers across the globe coming to a really beautiful destination and writing stories about it. So there are several other new festivals that have been discussed. And we hope that, you know, with funding and good sponsorship and so on, we should be able in the next fiscal to see some of these roll out.
Right, excellent.
All right, we've been speaking with Mr. John Arnold, and he is the CEO of Tobago Festivals Commission. We obviously did the synopsis of Blue Food Festival 2023 and things to look forward to in terms of festivals on the island of Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for a quick break and we return later on with more conversations with our guests. But before we go, we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
From place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning. Good morning,